Hello, I'm Sandra Gaudenzi, and I am an interactive narrative specialist based at the University of Westminster in London. And I had the luck, the honor, and actually the real pleasure to mentor the project Mimic for the CPH Labs. And I would like them to speak about the project. And so my first question to them is just Mimic in one sentence. What is it?
Thank you, Sandra. Mimic is an interactive documentary and collective portrait about the human cost of artificial intelligence and our relationship with the technology.
And so, why is it important to create this collective portrait of our understanding of AI right now, today?
Artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly relevant, both individually in our personal lives and collectively in our communities and our societies. Generations are being defined under the influence of these new technologies that we don't even really understand. And this isn't something that can be stopped or even should be stopped, but it should be understood. So Mimic is an attempt to really open up the conversation around AI and gauge public perception about where we are and where we're going in the future.
I personally believe that improvements in artificial intelligence, like Reed said, are going to define our generation. We already see AI achieving incredible feats that humans couldn't have imagined even just a couple of years ago. AI is fundamentally changing how we approach everything, from improvements in healthcare to policies to jobs. And yet, most people can't even agree on what AI is. So we thought that it was about time to establish a collective human understanding of AI.
And what sort of reaction do you want to generate with a project like this?
Well, I'm hoping that people who experience Mimic get to think just one level deeper about AI. Advancements in AI will lead to seismic shifts in how we live our lives. And for the most part, for the better, I'm sure. But it is imperative that we guide it in that direction. And we can't do that within a society that isn't comfortable talking about AI. I'm hoping that Mimic sparks audiences' curiosity to further understand our species' relationship to AI in the future.
I think, the power of collective portrait is that it's so many diverse voices coming from so many different places of experience. And I really hope that with Mimic being a collective portrait, we create greater accessibility for everyday people who don't work in tech, who aren't experts in AI, to feel invited to the conversation about artificial intelligence. I mean, it affects like so many parts of our daily lives where we knowingly and unknowingly partake. And I think it's becoming increasingly more a part of our day-to-day lives. So I really hope that Mimic allows people to feel invigorated to challenge and more proactively engage with the algorithms they confront, rather than just forgetting what's under the hood, and to feel more invited to the conversation than they might currently be.
Definitely. I think it's super important. But a little bit about you as a team. What brought you together? Who are you?
So the three of us have orbited each other in various capacities for years. Arthur and I are childhood friends. Danielle and I come from film production backgrounds and have worked together producing a number of films. But we've never come together to work on something, the three of us. And CPH Lab was a really special opportunity for us to collaborate and bring our various strengths together into one project.
As Reed mentioned, we've all been orbiting each other for a while, living in New York and sharing friends and working on things in the past. My background is mostly in media and anthropology, and I work on a lot of projects that engage with ephemera. And so Reed had texted me several months ago, like, "Hey, Danielle, there's this lab I'm applying to with this interactive project, and I really want your feedback." So I came in with a lot of strong opinions about it, but we really vibed and really connected, and it sounded so interesting. I later found out that before he even texted me, he wanted me to come onto the project. So, I mean, it was a really great way to work with him in this new capacity, and to get to know Arthur in this way, and to do all of that at CPH Lab has been a really incredible opportunity to bring our different skills together.
So really, I think as a last question, I just want to ask, has your views of AI changed? How have you moved through this project?
We had an interview with our composer, Jake, who made a comment that artificial intelligence isn't moving in a direction where it's really going to be able to make art or create some kinds of personalized suggestions the way that humans can, because it can't pull from its own lived experience like humans do. And working on this project and prior to it, there are so many ways that I become more anxious because I'm more aware of the ways that I don't have the agency I think I do over the algorithms I confront. But something about that response from Jake really gave me some inner peace. It made me grateful for the ways that human minds uniquely work, and felt like a really healthy counterweight that I hadn't had before to my relationship with, what makes AI AI and what makes us us.
Yeah. I used to think of AI as just a tool. So I'm on the other side of the coin. But in some ways, I realize that AI has, as an entity, has a life of its own. It's currently one of the closest things we have to magic. We may have a relationship with it and use it to benefit society. But we also need to treat the technology with respect and a heightened sense of awareness.
I'm definitely much more aware of AI's potential. There's a lot of misinformation and misunderstandings about the technology and what it can do, a lot of fear-mongering. And while I definitely think some of it is justified and we need to collectively be very cautious and thoughtful about our path forward, there's also a lot to be really excited about too.
Absolutely. Thank you, team. Mimic is a very exciting project and actually really helps us all, I think, to think about AI and to really understand where do we stand on these topics. So I hope you will enjoy it.